Super Mario Odyssey, one of the most influential games of the last decade by far. A game that is known for doing things no other platformers have ever done, as well as revolutionizing the Super Mario franchise. However, while that's great and all, I haven't covered this game a whole lot. Sure, I still did a decent amount of videos on it, but I skipped some fun subjects, like the moon seen in the game, which we will finally cover today, because we will be looking at 5 moons that are tons of fun to complete in my opinion. And don't worry if yours isn't on the list. There are a lot of them in the game and I can't cover all of them. There are literally hundreds. So I just picked a couple that I remember well and like a lot. And some of these are quite surprising. Number 5. Now for our very first moon, we will be looking at one that actually used the capture mechanic in quite a unique way, doing something that I've never seen before in any of the other games, using poisonous water in, quite an interesting way. I'm talking about the Skimming the Poison Tides moon, which is overall a quite straightforward challenge for the player, but it's not easy to do. This place is hidden behind a secret door in the Cap Kingdom, and when you enter you will encounter a narrow tunnel-like area filled with quite a lot of poison. And here you must capture a Paragoomba to collect moon shards hovering over the poison in order to obtain a full power moon. However, while this might seem quite simple to most, it's actually a lot more complex and difficult than it sounds. And that's because there are constant waves of poison coming towards you that will instantly kill you if you don't watch out. So you're flying up and down, trying to get all those shards to get your prize, the Power Moon. But while doing so, the poison can get you at any time. And sometimes you can get caught off guard by one of those incoming poison waves, thanks to your depth perception. Which is a bit unfair at times, I will admit that. However, it certainly does make it harder, and that's a good thing. And if it's really too much, then adjusting your camera will help a lot with this. But the reason why I like it so much is because it uses the Paragoomba in a fun way that's fitting with the platforming roots of the franchise, which is, sadly enough, rarely seen in the game. Paragoombas have quite a boring role, even though they have massive potential. But here, Nintendo finally uses them in a very fun way. It's some sort of incredibly dangerous flying course, which is something I would have liked to see more in the game. And as far as I can remember, there wasn't much of that in Super Mario Odyssey. And another cool thing about this moon is that the second hidden moon is pretty hard to find, and also fun to obtain, making it a nice bonus. Number 4. Now for our next one, we will look at a power moon that was also found in the Cap Kingdom. And I will promise now, not all of them are in this kingdom. Oh, no. But let's get into this funky moon, which isn't actually that weird because it's just a huge platforming section that was perfectly executed. Now it goes by the name Pushblock Peril, and it's basically a platforming area featuring push blocks and spark pylons. That's it. Sounds pretty simple, right? Well, yes it is. However, to be honest, this is one of the best platforming sections of the entire game, where you mostly use Mario to get around. And if you're really good, you can use a lot of the new abilities that Mario has, like the cap throwing, to do it extremely quickly while also looking really cool. So that already makes it stand out, and a fun challenge for any player regardless of their skill level. Well, I think so at least. But that's not all, because the spark pylons also play a role, mostly as quick travel connection lines to the next platforming bit. But in between, you also get some things to do while you're traveling along the lines, like getting purple coins with good timing. And this is, as far as I know, one of the only times they did something like this with these. Most of the time, they are just used for travel and nothing else really. But here, they at least had a more fun and interesting role combined with excellent platforming sections. It's as good as it's gonna get. Number 3. In Super Mario Odyssey, there's one mechanic that rules them all, like the One Ring from Lord of the Rings, but less ominous and evil and related to smelly orcs. Now that I think about it, that might have been a wrong comparison. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is that the capture mechanic is the main focus of the game, as well as the best feature in the game. And there's one creature that's by far the most fun to capture and play around with, the glorious T-Rex. And in the game, there's one level where you use this beast to obtain a power moon, and it's amazing to say the least. It's certainly a step up from the first encounter you have with it on the little hill in the Cascade Kingdom. That's nothing compared to this. It's known as the dinosaur nest running wild, and is located behind a small mountain in the Cascade Kingdom. Overall, it's pretty well hidden, and when you go through the door you end up in a spacious underground area where Mario must capture a T-Rex and smash all the rocks and burbos found there in order to obtain a power moon. And my lord, I freaking love this moon. At the end of the day, this is just a huge playground for the player to mess around with the T-Rex that they captured. And you even get rewarded for doing all of this. So it's like a dream come true. And when I first found this place, I was shocked. But in a very positive way. There are loads of enemies and obstacles to destroy and even jump pads to bring you from one place to the other. So if you haven't done this one yet, I would certainly go and do it right now, because it's a blast, believe me. Well, if you like messing around with the T-Rex at least. Because if that isn't your cup of tea, then yeah, I mean, what do you want me to say? Then it's just not for you, alright? I still love you. What am I on about? Next number. Number 2. Now, so far we've been discussing all kinds of 3D shenanigans you can get up to in Super Mario Odyssey. However, that isn't the only type of gameplay style that we see in this game. Because interestingly enough, 2D also plays a big role in this title. For the first time ever, Nintendo allowed players to enter certain 8-bit warp pipes, which ultimately put them on the wall in a 2D world, allowing you to literally play sections of the game on a wall. And to be honest, they combined the two perfectly. And they for sure took inspiration from A Link Between Worlds when making all of this. There's no other way. But if you want to know more about that, then be sure to check out the video that I made on it in the upper right corner. Because, as you can imagine, I'm a huge fan of it, and was also very impressed when I first saw it. Now, the moon that I actually want to look at is called the King of the Cube, and the concept of this level is pure genius to say the least. It's found by entering a moon pipe in the Cloud Kingdom, and what you must do is collect 5 moon shards within the 8-bit dimension of the cube, going from side to side, getting them all one by one, overcoming all kinds of different challenges and obstacles, mostly combat and platforming stuff. Now, in my opinion, this is genius, because it combines the aspects of a 3D world and 2D world perfectly. The 2D aspect is the individual bits on each side of the die, and the 3D aspect is your option of moving between all sides of the die. The whole level flows naturally, and all the sides offer a different kind of challenge. So it's pretty great in my opinion. And while doing so, it also looks beyond amazing. The whole look of the place is very retro, but also futuristic, and it uses a lot of neon coloring. However, while it is very cool, it is not the best in my opinion. Number 1. Now we finally get to the big winner. And this one is actually quite simple and straightforward. More than the last one at least, surprisingly enough. It's found in the best world of the game, New Donk City. However, it doesn't really belong here. But that doesn't matter too much. Super Mario Odyssey is a completely crazy and wacky game anyway. I'm of course talking about the legendary T-Rex alleyway, which is quite straightforward. It's an alleyway-like area where you must ride on a motor scooter to escape a rampaging T-Rex that's coming after you. Clearly not a very complex level, but regardless of that, it is really fun because while driving, you will encounter obstacles and stuff you can collect. Usually you won't get everything or even make it to the end on your very first run, but that's fine. Don't worry about it, because then you can do it again. Most people do this one multiple times anyway, because there's one moon that's quite hard to get because it's somewhere along the trail, and another one that everyone will get as long as they make it to the end of it. So it even offers replayability, all while being a fun and adrenaline-filled ride for your life, as well as power moons. Hey! And I love it for all these reasons. It's one of those short and sweet moons, but also very surprising ones. Because to be honest, you and I, no one actually, ever expected that one of the alleyways in a freaking huge city like New Donk City, which is actually based on real-life New York in the United States of America, would lead to a dinosaur scooter chase scene. I mean, come on, people. Clearly this was a stroke of genius on Nintendo's end. It was for sure a pleasant surprise for almost every player as far as I know, and this is probably my favorite moon. Still, I have to mention I haven't looked at every moon in the entire game, because there are so many to dig through, and I haven't played this game in ages, especially 100%ing it. But regardless of that, all these 5 moons are tons of fun to go through, so if you haven't done some of these, then go do it right now. Because believe me, you won't regret it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to click the like button, the subscribe button, and that little bell. Check the upper right corner for some new videos. Leave a comment, naughty or nice, and I will see all of you in the next one.